และในโอกาสนี้นะครับต้องขอเรียนเชิญท่านกงสุลอินเดียนะครับท่านกฤษณะชัยธัญญาครับได้เกิดขึ้นมาด้านบนเวทีเพื่อที่จะได้กล่าวต้อนรับแขกผู้มีเกียรติทุกท่านครับ
Chief guest for this morning, the Commander of 33rd Military Circle, Major General Thira Padungsunthon, Vice Governors of Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, Lampung, Lampang, Phrae and Tak provinces, representatives from other wings of Royal Thai government, colleagues from the Consular Corps of Northern Thailand, presidents of major and North Chiang Mai universities, representatives from other universities, Director of India Study Center and Head of Bharat Vidya Division in Chiang Mai University, distinguished alumni, friends from the media and academia, business chambers, civil society groups, honored guests, artists who are going to perform this morning, fellow citizens, ladies and gentlemen. Warm greetings to all of you on the 75th Republic Day of India and the heartiest welcome to this celebration. Swadhikrab, Namaskar. It was on 26 January 1950 that India became a sovereign democratic republic and promulgated a constitution encapsulating the egalitarian values of its civilization, which has a recorded history of over 5,000 years. Drafted over 141 days and then discussed, critiqued and debated over 22 months across 3 separate readings by a 271-member elected Constituent Assembly, it has a deep imprint of Buddhism and has turned out to be the largest written constitution in the world. It is now available in Thai language also. With such a transformative constitution, India began its journey towards growth and development in 1950 within the framework of multi-party democracy and a 3-tier governance, after having suffered almost 200 years of colonial plunder, which saw India's contribution to world GDP come down from 25% at the beginning of 18th century to just 4% by the middle of the 20th, and to world manufacturing output from 24% in 1750 to just 1.7% in 1900. Such was the conscious and deliberate bleeding of India, to use the words of the great historian Will Durant, that even per capita food grain availability declined by about 1/3 during the last 50 years of what Durant has called the greatest crime in all history. 75 years later, India is on course to re-attain in another 50 years its position of being among the top 2 economies of the world, a position it has always held throughout the recorded history of world GDP since the beginning of the AD era till the more than 2 centuries-long colonial era of darkness descended over it, as the time series data by economist Anders Madison shows. It has already become world's 5th largest economy, is set to become the 3rd largest within this decade, and continue to grow at a rapid pace over the coming decades. This growth is coming on the solid foundation of growing human capabilities of India's population, as reflected by the data on socio-economic progress since 1950. Life expectancy has more than doubled, death rate has come down by 80%, infant mortality rate has declined by 85%, and literacy rate has more than quadrupled. Per capita food grain availability has grown by more than 1/3. In fact, so overwhelming is the food grain production and so overflowing are the stocks that it is being distributed for free to 800 million people year after year. This progress in building human capabilities is now making India grow at a rapid pace and transforming the quality of life of its 1.4 billion population. About 2 decades into this 75 years journey, our consulate came up in Chiang Mai in 1972. It has been 52 years since then. Having been mostly concerned with providing consular services, we have now expanded into all spheres of bilateral relationship, ranging from trade and commerce to education and culture. India and Thailand share civilizational relationship with common spiritual heritage, and the Consulate of India is committed to work to further this relationship and expand the linkages between Northern Thailand and India. Providing efficient, easily accessible and hassle-free consular services, of course, remain our priority. I take this opportunity to thank the authorities of the Government of Thailand for all the cooperation they have extended to us over the years. We are deeply touched by the contribution that our numerous Thai friends are making in promoting Indian culture in many fields and thus bringing our two countries even closer. We are also thankful to the colleagues in the Consular Corps of Northern Thailand. The warmth and camaraderie that we share make our functioning that much a pleasure. I take this opportunity to welcome the Consul General of China, Chen Haiping, and the Consul General of Myanmar, who have recently arrived to the city, and wish both of them a successful tenure and a pleasant stay here. Our diaspora is our pride. The Thai Indian community has served as a bridge between our two countries. The achievements of the diaspora and the distinguished alumni in various spheres are a matter of great delight for us. The valuable contribution Indians are making as educators, researchers, and professionals in various fields in Chiang Mai and elsewhere in northern Thailand makes each one of them our Rashtradoot, as the Prime Minister Narendra Modi recently described them. As I talk about this journey as a sovereign democratic republic, I must gratefully recall that Thailand had stood by the side of India in its struggle to gain independence. It was a major base of India's freedom struggle waged from abroad, and the Thai government has recognized the provisional government in exile found by one of the tallest of our freedom fighters, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Even Chiang Mai had served as a base for our freedom fighters in the early decades of the 20th century. As we celebrate the 75th Republic Day, we are highlighting Bihar, one of the eastern states of India, where the first republic in the world was established in the 6th century BC, and thus republicanism was born. It is a state which truly represents the soul of India, unity in diversity, and which celebrates the glorious diversities of India. It is a state where Gautam Buddha received enlightenment and also gave his last sermon, a state which thus harbors the eternal legacy of the Lord and his teachings. It is a state where Nalanda, the first university in the world, was established over 1500 years ago. A state which has age-old linkages with Thailand, where the capital of Maharaj Ashoka, who brought Buddhism to Thailand, was located, and from where Ajahn Jivaka Komalbot, the personal physician of Lord Buddha, came to Thailand, bringing with him the traditional medicine and healing practices. It is a state where the 10th Guru of the Sikhs, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, was born. It is also a state where the sacred hairs from the beard of Paigambar Hazrat Muhammad is preserved. It is a state where the founder of Jainism, Lord Mahavir, was born. It is a state where more than 3 centuries old exquisite church known as Padri Ki Haveli is an equally revered place. And all these are located within the circumference of 100 kilometers. It is thus a state worth visiting. And 3 months from now, I will be there to welcome you all if any of you choose to visit there. I have already spoken a lot and should not test more your tolerance on a Sunday morning. But thank you all for joining us this morning, and thanks to Team Marriott for hosting this event within such a short time. But for their encouragement, we were about to postpone this event for a later date. And thanks to all the friends who have made it happen. Jai Hind, Jai Thailand.
Thank you, Krishnaji, for your enlightening speech. We appreciate your efforts and contributions to the Indian community in Chiang Mai. I would now like to request the Vice Governor, Khun Boravid Chaisawat, to grace us with his remarks and share his thoughts. Please welcome him with a round of applause.
ครับผมและในลำดับถัดไปนะครับก็ได้ขอเรียนเชิญท่านรองผู้ว่าราชการจังหวัดเชียงใหม่ท่านวรวิทย์ชัยสวัสดิ์นะครับได้เกียรติขึ้นมาด้านบนเวทีครับเพื่อที่จะได้กล่าวแสดงความยินดีนะครับขอเรียนเชิญท่านบริเวณด้านบนเวทีครับ
ครับเรียนท่านกงสุลสาธารณรัฐอินเดียณจังหวัดเชียงใหม่ท่านกฤษณะใจตัญญาท่านรองผู้ว่าการจังหวัดเชียงใหม่ท่านรองผู้ว่าการจังหวัดลำพูนท่านรองผู้ว่าการจังหวัดตากท่านรองผู้ว่าการจังหวัดแพร่ คณะกงสุลต่างประเทศประจำจังหวัดเชียงใหม่หัวหน้าส่วนราชการท่านรองนายกองค์การบริหารส่วนจังหวัดเชียงใหม่ท่านรองนายกเหล่ากาชาดจังหวัดเชียงใหม่ตลอดจนแขกผู้มีเกียรติที่เคารพรักทุกท่านครับครับในนามของจังหวัดเชียงใหม่ผมรู้สึกยินดีและรู้สึกเป็นเกียรติที่ได้ร่วมงานเฉลิมฉลองครบวาระ75 ปีวันชาติของสาธารณรัฐอินเดียรวมทั้งร่วมรำลึกถึงประวัติศาสตร์ชาติที่มีมาอย่างยาวนานนับเป็นการเฉลิมฉลอง75 ปีความสัมพันธ์สาธารณรัฐอินเดียและประเทศไทยซึ่งเป็นความสัมพันธ์ที่ใกล้ชิดและยาวนานผ่านความร่วมมือทางด้านเศรษฐกิจความมั่นคงศาสนาและวัฒนธรรมนอกจากนี้ผมขอแสดงความยินดีในวาระ52 ปีการก่อตั้งสถานกงสุลอินเดียประจำจังหวัดเชียงใหม่ที่มีบทบาทสำคัญในการดูแลคนอินเดียและให้บริการด้านการรับรองเอกสารและให้คำปรึกษาเกี่ยวกับประเทศอินเดียให้แก่คนไทยและคนต่างชาติในจังหวัดเชียงใหม่และ17 จังหวัดภาคเหนือของไทยผมขอเป็นตัวแทนชาวจังหวัดเชียงใหม่ขอขอบคุณท่านกงสุลอินเดียประจำจังหวัดเชียงใหม่ที่มีบทบาทสำคัญในการส่งเสริมความสัมพันธ์ไทยอินเดียให้แน่นแฟ้นยิ่งขึ้นพร้อมทั้งให้ความร่วมมือและสนับสนุนการทำงานกับองค์กรต่างๆของจังหวัดเชียงใหม่เป็นอย่างดีเสมอมาในโอกาสอันน่ายินดีนี้ผมขอเชิญท่านผู้มีเกียรติทุกท่านร่วมแสดงความยินดีกับสาธารณรัฐอินเดียเนื่องในวันสำคัญครบรอบ75 ปีวันชาติสาธารณรัฐอินเดียและร่วมใจร่วมกันอวยพรให้ความสัมพันธภาพระหว่างประเทศไทยและสาธารณรัฐอินเดียแน่นแฟ้นมากยิ่งขึ้นสืบไปขอขอบคุณครับ
ครับผมต้องกราบขอบพระคุณนะครับทั้งสองท่านที่ได้เกียรติขึ้นมากล่าวด้านบนเวทีครับและในลำดับถัดไปนะครับก็จะได้ขอเรียนเชิญท่านกงสุลอินเดียนะครับและก็ท่านรองผู้ว่าราชการจังหวัดเชียงใหม่นะครับได้ร่วมกันนะครับทำสัญลักษณ์นะครับในการเฉลิมฉลองนั่นก็คือการจุดตะเกียงพิธีกรรมนะครับผมขอเรียนเชิญทั้งสองท่านบริเวณตรงกลางเวทีได้เลยครับ
Lighting the lamp is a traditional ritual in many cultures, especially in India, where it signifies the dispelling of darkness and ignorance and the ushering of wisdom and enlightenment.
ครับผมซึ่งเราเชื่อกันว่านะครับการจุดตะเกียงนะครับเป็นสัญลักษณ์ในการเฉลิมฉลองนะครับแสงสว่างแห่งความรุ่งโรจน์นะครับผมซึ่งในช่วงนี้นะครับทั้งสองท่านจะได้ร่วมกันจุดตะเกียงไปพร้อมๆกันครับอันนี้ก็เป็นสัญลักษณ์ที่ดีนะครับจะได้เห็นความร่วมไม้ร่วมมือนะครับของท่านกงสุลจากประเทศอินเดียและก็ท่านรองผู้ราชการจังหวัดเชียงใหม่นะครับได้ร่วมกันทำสัญลักษณ์จุดตะเกียงชัยไปพร้อมๆกันนะครับเป็นนิมิตหมายอันดีงามนะครับสำหรับมิตรไมตรีที่มีต่อกันระหว่างประเทศอินเดียและก็ประเทศไทยของเรานั่นเองครับ
Sharing the light and lighting one lamp at a time. I think that's the ideal all of us in India and Thailand follow. So keep the lamps burning and spread the knowledge, the joy, the friendship.
นะครับในโอกาสนี้ขอเสียงปรบมือดังๆสักครั้งหนึ่งนะครับสำหรับพิธีจุดตะเกียงนะครับ
Thank you, Krishnaji and Kun Boravit Chaisawat. Let us now pay our respects to both our national anthems. I request everyone to please stand up for the Thai national anthem, followed by the Indian national anthem, and please remain standing till the end of the anthems.
และแขกผู้มีเกียรติทุกท่านครับในโอกาสนี้จะได้ขอเรียนเชิญทุกท่านนะครับได้ร่วมยืนขึ้นนะครับเพื่อเคารพเพลงชาตินะครับซึ่งเราจะเริ่มต้นจากเพลงชาติไทยกันก่อนนะครับแล้วก็จะต่อด้วยเพลงชาติอินเดียนะครับเรียนเชิญทุกท่านทำความเคารพครับ
I गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मागे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे
Thank you, everyone. I request you to please be seated and hope you all enjoy the morning.
เอาละครับในการนี้ต้องกราบขอบพระคุณแขกผู้มีเกียรติทุกท่านนะครับในช่วงนี้ก็จะได้เรียนเชิญทุกท่านนะครับได้นั่งประจำที่เช่นเดียวกันนะครับต้องกราบขอบพระคุณท่านกงสุลอินเดียนะครับท่านกฤษณะชัยตัญญารวมถึงท่านรองผู้ว่าราชการจังหวัดเชียงใหม่ท่านวรวิทย์ชัยสวัสดิ์นะครับที่ได้เกียรติขึ้นมาประกอบพิธีด้านบนเวทีของเราครับ
I would now like to invite on stage and introduce Mrinalini Rai, who has a strong background in human rights, gender and environmental governance, and has worked on policy, advocacy and research. She is the lady behind Women for Biodiversity, a global network for women's rights and environmental justice based in Chiang Mai. She defends the rights of indigenous peoples, local communities, women and youth in environmental processes, and trusts in grassroots power and communities' voices and experiences. She has been an important member of the United Nations Convention on Biological Diversity, UNCBD, and founded the CBD Women's Caucus in 2014. Let us welcome her with a big round of applause.
และแขกผู้มีเกียรติทุกท่านครับในลำดับต่อไปนะครับก็จะได้ขอเรียนเชิญคุณมารินาลินีรายนะครับได้เกียรติขึ้นมาด้านบนเวทีครับเพื่อที่จะได้พรีเซนต์นะครับในนามของความหลากหลายทางด้านชีวภาพแห่งสตรีครับขอเสียงปรบมือในครั้งหนึ่งให้กับเธอด้วยครับ
Thank you so much. Good morning, everybody. It's a wonderful honor to be here. Thank you so much to the Consulate of India, especially to Krishnaji, who really encouraged me and say that it's time to present the work that we are doing here. I also want to say that because I see a lot of you from Chiang Mai. Chiang Mai has been home to me and my family for over a decade now. I'm also a student of Chiang Mai University. So I did my master's from Chiang Mai Faculty of Social Science and Sustainable Development. So I was very young then, that was almost 10 years ago. So my work spans from that, my experience, my knowledge that I gained at Chiang Mai University, my background coming from India, coming also from a very diverse community there. And also, I'm really happy that I'm very fortunate to combine all those passion and my background into what I'll be sharing to you today about Women for Biodiversity. So Women for Biodiversity was an idea that just came about with a couple of friends and us sitting together somewhere in one of those international meetings and trying to see how do we really talk about and acknowledge the role that women play in biodiversity conservation. So what we sat together and we said that, so we established the network then to advocate for a right to a healthy environment. Talking about that when we talk about a healthy environment, we're talking about waters and lands and forests, seas. It is also really very important that if you know about the SDGs, is talk about leaving no one behind. And understanding that women are 50% of the world's population, there was something to be done to ensure that half the population were part of community organizing, discussions in decision making, projects funding, and to have a space for their voices to be heard. So with that vision we started, and that's we acknowledged the need for gender equality. And also to building synergies, and how do we really do that? So these are very big terms I've talked about, our work revolves around environmental policy making at international spaces. So these are very big acronyms. So it's just to understand that in the international arenas and the world, in the global landscape, there are three main conventions. Conventions are binding treaties. They talk about, very simple to just maybe understand, is the first one is on biological diversity, which is the biodiversity, looking at our landscapes, ecosystems. The desertification, it's good to know that there are three, I call them the triplets. So biodiversity, land, and climate. And to really understand that women contribute collectively to all these spaces. So we engage in these different engagements. Okay, so I'm going to go very shortly, and I'm here for the day. I am based in Chiang Mai. So just very briefly that, and this is where we're talking about that women's roles. I put everything, my work, in one slide. But understanding, say, for example, in Asia Pacific or South Asia, women are a very large force of, say, for example, the agriculture workspace. In fisheries, in forestries, say, for example, in fisheries in South Asia and Southeast Asia Pacific, they make up of over 60% of the workspace. If you're talking about, it could be simple thing like having social security for them or gaps between wage gaps, you will see the distinct. So we are still not par in really understanding these inequalities that exist, though they contribute a large portion of their time in these different spaces. So you're talking about either managing natural resources, this talks about land rights and how their decision-making power lags. And also looking at unpaid workforces. I put all the data here together. So saying that this is the reason why, but with understanding that they are half the world's population, and what do we really need to do? So this I just quickly showed the graphic, in particular with forestry, right? I think also because we are in Chiang Mai, Thailand, also in India, where we are talking about conservation and protection of natural resources. And if you look at it in local communities or indigenous peoples communities, the differentiation of roles that women and men play are very different. So usually men will talk about looking at work that has got money involved, right? But a lot of work around what women do, like say, for example, taking care of children, making sure that traditional knowledge, talk about songs, you're talking about handicrafts, handicraft. These are actually what we call them intergenerational transfer of knowledge, language. And though it's not a monetary value to that, women play a very key role in how a community's whole identity as a society goes forward. You're talking about cooking. They have a lot of knowledge more about seeds, languages, because they also take care of kids. So all those. So our approach at what we do at Women for Biodiversity, and looking at this, and we are not the only ones. We're a very small network contributing to the larger scale of this advocacy work. So one way that we do is understanding that women are there at the local level. How can we really support communities looking at gender issues? So one part of our work that we do is in part of restoration. So what we do that is globally we are supporting 5 or 6 restoration sites. So we have in Argentina, Solomon Islands, Kenya, Costa Rica, Cameroon, and where we are trying to support where women are leading some of those community-led, what we call restoration. So from forest management, from looking at marine and coastal wetlands, mangrove restoration. So these are some of the projects that we work with and the women in the community we work with. And one of the most important things we discovered is either you go to Latin America, you come to the Asia Pacific, or you come to Southeast Asia or South Asia Pacific, is the knowledge that all the women have. When they exchange, though they don't know each other, they have knowledge barriers. This is our field trip we did last year in Chiang Mai in May, where we brought all these pilot sites together in front of our ally and partner here, with some of the groups that we work in Thailand, we made them go to their community and see what women were doing. And it was really very interesting because a woman from Africa, when she was taken to the forest in Thailand, and when this is the Doi Khang village, and when Ori was showing them about, oh, this is what we do with the seeds and this is what we do with the plants, the colleague she's from Kenya, and she never went on a plane ever before. It was the first time she was coming out of her country. And it was wonderful to see because they sat together and said, Tina, you know what? We use the same seed. We eat the same seed. We cook it differently. So it was a very nice thing of saying that how women within different scopes, different geographic places, some of these traditional knowledge, somehow, I don't know how, overlap with these experiences. So we did that. And it's very short. This is my last slide. This is where we are very heavy on as international policy spaces. So what we really try to do that is, first is we support local communities and seeing what they're doing. And we also do a lot of analysis, policy analysis of international discussions. So that's where we engage in. We take women, we support local women's participation, we build capacity, we do trainings for them, we take them to international meetings to talk and voice their own experiences. And we also organize technical workshops. If you look at the right one, that's me in 2020, before COVID, in Brazil, with the government of Brazil there, and talking about gender issues. And then these are different meetings recently in Dubai, in climate change meeting that took place, where we talked and presented about the importance of having disaggregated data and the importance of engaging of women. And this is a convention on biodiversity where Thailand and India are parties to all these conventions. So I will also lead to that, and I'll also say that this is a really very wonderful experience for me to join this, because as we know, also taking the restoration initiative, India is the presidency of G20, and they also initiated the Global Land Restoration Initiative. So you're hoping to engage and build this network bigger, longer, and seeing how we could also ensure that when we're talking about sustainable development, we're talking about equality, we're talking about diversity, to also really make sure that half of the women, half the population of the world, which are women and girls, how do they become an advance and take this forward? So it's like we're building that. So that's part of our work today that I'm sharing. Thank you very much. This is our website, and thank you once again to Krishnaji for encouraging me to come and present to all of you. And I'm here, and I'll be happy to share more. So thank you very much. Kapun Kha and Namaste.
Thank you, Rilanini, for the information and the inspiring talk. We are thankful for your dedication and passion towards your work.
ครับผมก็ต้องขอขอบคุณนะครับสำหรับคุณมารินาลินีนะครับผมที่ได้ความรู้นะครับเรื่องราวเกี่ยวกับความหลากหลายทางชีวภาพแห่งสตรีนะครับ
I think someone said, teach your women, teach your future generations. Educate your women, educate your future generations. I always say that no event is complete without music and dance. Next up, we have a treat for your eyes and ears. We have invited some talented artists from Thailand and India to perform for us tonight.
เอาละครับสำหรับช่วงพิธีการด้านบนเวทีนะครับก็ได้เสร็จสิ้นลงเป็นที่เรียบร้อยแล้วอาจจะขออนุญาตเปลี่ยนโหมดกันนิดนึงนะครับเพราะว่าในช่วงนี้จะเป็นช่วงเวลาที่จะได้นำแขกผู้มีเกียรติทุกท่านนะครับเข้าสู่ความบันเทิงนะครับความรื่นเริงที่จะได้เกิดขึ้นพร้อมๆกันในช่วงต่อไปครับเป็นการแสดงนาฏยศิลป์อินเดียนะครับโดยศิลปินและเยาวชนนะครับทั้งชาวไทยและก็ชาวอินเดียครับที่จะได้มอบความสุขให้กับแขกผู้มีเกียรติทุกท่านได้รับชมไปพร้อมๆกัน